All right. Almost up and running here. Let's see. Conventions. Oops, it's the wrong thing. Okie dokie. Let's see here. All right. I think we're just about ready. I forgot where I left off actually. Yeah, I fixed that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the right one. Okay, that's good to go. Oh, no. Wait, it's okay. All right. Just making sure of everything real quick. All right. Okay, core logic is where I left off. All right. Okay. How long before I get annoyed with this? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna make me happy. Okay, so now we have to figure out the win and loss animations. So make this a function maybe. So enemy wins here, then if it makes it to here, that means you won. So for now, let's make a new animation for shooting the gun. So I think library using Raylib. It's excellent. Highly recommend it. It takes care of a lot of the different like problems that have already been solved in terms of like textures, sounds, the renderer. I don't have to make any of that, so I can just kind of focus on the game logic. So I like it a lot. I think it's a great library. The guy that makes it is a good guy. Hmm. Trying to think here. So this same thing, I want him to shoot his gun. So I think it's gonna need to go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. 20, 40, 60, 80. So X is 80. The Y is going to be 20, 40. The Y is 40. And then what's the value here? It needs to get reset at 20, 40, 60, 80, 80, 120. Wait, 80, 100, 120. So at 120, it should stop. So at 120, it should stop. Right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Figure that out. All right. Let's see. Now we need a. This is gonna have to be his death animation. So these two. So 20, 40, 60. Wait, 20, 40, 60, 80. So 80 for the Y, which is what 80 goes on the Y. And then here, I think this also starts at 80. 20, 40, wait, 20, 40, 60, 80, yeah, 80. So 80, 80. And then we actually don't really even need this again, so something else with the counter again. I don't know. 3. This can be done with just another simple if. No, it goes 80, and this is 20. And then if it's plus or equal to 100, then it's equals to 100. So I think that's correct for the die. Okay. I've probably got to make a freaking bullet animation. I haven't even thought about that. I don't have it installed anymore. Fuck. I guess that's next. This isn't right. Making some sort of Wild West game? Yeah, the game I'm making is actually based on this old mini game from Kirby's Adventure. If you've ever played that, so I forget what it's called. Quick Draw. It's the same game. but I wanted to make it like a little more modern and like add some features, slow motion, maybe make it like a little bit more high fidelity. But it looks like the idea is it's going to look, it's pretty heavily based on that. So that's the idea. So you can kind of see, like, if I run the build now, hopefully it can pop. I guess you can kind of see the similarities, right? So that's the idea. So I think here we shift the animation, and so I don't remember for the player, but this means like the enemy wins. So the player has to die, pass the address of player, and the enemy has to win, and then we pass the address of enemy. So player death is player death is 4. I'm pretty sure. So we pass 4 for the player and shoot for the enemy, which is 3. That was perfect, I guess. 100% right. That was pretty lucky. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. So the inverse here. So if we press it before that, then the first thing that we're going to have to do is update the inverse animations, where the player shoots his gun. So 3, and then enemy state 4. That's just easy, simple inverse. That's good. 3 player shoots, 4 enemy dies. Okay. So I think that's right. So this is going to be a weird way to calculate this, and I actually don't think it's the right way, but just for now, I'd like to test this. So we'll run an if condition in both places, and it's going to be really jacked up. Hey Alan, welcome back. Okay, here's the function. I'm going to run it in both places. So I'm going to say if get time is minus the state core seconds. Oh man. So if get time minus state core seconds, so whatever this value is, right, is plus, oh, this is so jacked up. Okay, plus the enemy difficulty. Goes in another set of parentheses here. Okay, so all of that plus like 2. It's like wait 2 seconds, and then So like basically I want to wait whatever this amount of time is plus 2. So that's why I'm thinking like we'll add the enemy difficulty to it. That way it changes every time. So whatever the current time was when we came into this method minus the amount of time that passed. Wait, yeah. Minus the amount of time that passed from the time that we entered the method, plus the amount of time that we waited for the enemy to shoot, plus 2 more seconds is the idea there. But like, I can't check that without evaluating it against something. So that's kind of what I'm thinking now. Like, how do I say, I guess if this time is greater than, dude, this is gonna be like, there's definitely a better way to do this method, but this is what I'm thinking. So look at this. Watch how ghetto this is. So I'm thinking that, and then like plus 2, and then just wrap this in a parenthesis like that. This is gonna evaluate that whole expression, right? Greater than or equal to this amount of time plus 2. So like that much plus. What are the odds that this compiles? Like probably 0, right? Okay. So if all that happens, then we'll just say like print, like for now I just want to debug this because I think I'm gonna have to solve this problem in a different way. Enemy wins, and then like we'll know to take it to the next thing, right? So that's the idea here. And then, so I'm just gonna run the same method if the player wins, and then we can work on the actually what it's gonna do after that. So ideally what'll happen is the shoot and death will happen instantly, and then it'll wait 2 seconds, and then print that. Let's see. Oh, and I switched. I got off MSVC, so I'm back to using GCC. I rewrote a brand new bat script. You might be interested in seeing. Look at this. It's only like really simple. It's maybe like I don't know how many single lines of code this is, but it's not much. And basically, all it does is it links the library that I'm using. It links my main file, and that's it. So yeah, GCC. I was super wrong about the MSVC. I guess I was building it wrong, and I got these people were all over me. They were hounding me earlier because I was like, yeah, I was using MSVC, but I wasn't, I guess, building it right. And the problems were like, if you check the previous videos, they were taking a long time to build. Like, not really that long, but like this is instant. When I run, you'll see when I type to clean and run the build, it cleans everything, builds it, and runs it in like not even a second. And the other thing was like taking a few seconds, and that time adds up. And mostly I think I was just getting frustrated with it because I'm not familiar with it. It's just like anything else. You know, I know GCC better than I know MSVC and stuff, so I think a lot of it was user error. But you know, the nice thing with having everything in a bat file like this is you can see it. It's like super quick, and then I just set aliases on it. So now all I have to do is say run, and it will. It actually compiles, and it'll run the executable too. Sorry, that was in the way. So you can see here it runs the whole compilation, and then runs it if that was successful. That's what the ands do. So what kind of Windows command is that? It has tabs. I'm not sure what the question is. What kind of Windows command is that? It has tabs. I'm not sure I understand, but I'm more than happy to explain. This is a bat file, and all this is like a shell script for Windows. So like where you have like .sh files on a Unix type system. On Windows you have batch files, and there's different syntax. Oh, the command prompt is PowerShell, which is like the newer one that comes with Windows 10, and it's just a little more Unix-like. So actually, all I did was set. Mine doesn't have tabs. I'm not sure what that means. Mine doesn't have tabs. Or the PowerShell. I'm not. Are you saying like you can't tab through like the next thing? I think that's a stock feature. I haven't injected anything into that. You should be able to like start typing a command and tab it. Oh, you can open more tabs. Oh, these tabs. Yeah, this is Windows Terminal, folks. You can get this from the Microsoft. This is the new Windows Terminal. Is what this is. Yeah. So if you type Windows and then you type terminal, what it is it's an emulator, and you can run multiple shells in a single terminal. So like you see, I got PowerShell in one. I can pull up command in another, Ubuntu in this one, and I use all these all the time. Yeah, it's totally cool. I think it's really good. I think it's a really good way to do things, especially like me. I run Windows subsystem for Linux all day long, and I use it a lot. In fact, what's cool about this is, so this is a full Ubuntu shell. Actually, it's no different than having like a dual boot Linux machine. And so like you see here, if I go into, I can like, my drives are mounted and everything. So it's really nice actually. One thing I was gonna do, hi there, how you doing? Snow Bizira, it's nice to have you. So yeah, one thing I was doing before I started getting frustrated was I was gonna use my game or program using Vim. Like, you know what I mean? I have this nice little Vim setup and stuff, but oh, and I actually have IntelliSense on the Vim. I think I was showing somebody, I think I was showing Alan yesterday. I have IntelliSense on the Vim, so that's cool. The only problem is like so it is nice. For example, like if I go here and I call my animation method that I built, like if I say animation, it's gonna know. Oops. Well, I guess I have to call it in here because it knows. But like if I say, oops, void animation, or how would I call that? Animate. Yeah. So if I call it in here, right? Animation. So then you can see right here. So the word is actually, the term is actually code completion. IntelliSense is something that is specific to Microsoft. They've like trademarked that phrase, but everybody knows it as IntelliSense. But that's what it is. So you can see this is a custom method that is in my animation.c file. So, and this is it detects this for anything. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty nice and lightweight. The only thing is it's like really convenient to instead have something like this and then like be able to highlight over it like that. So that's the trade-off, and sometimes I just feel like I make less mistakes and stuff. So the also like inline, because I have that extension set up, it tells me right away if like something's gonna scream at me when it's compiling. But that is something cool that you can do with the Windows terminal. So, oops. So yeah, Windows terminal, that's what the tabs were. That's a good question. Sorry about that. I totally misunderstood. Okay, so run. No, just run. Somebody should get shot and die. Okay, good. That looks pretty good. And it's not switching states, and it should only shoot once. So those are the only two things that we need to work out. Okay, so the animation for die, it should never go greater than or equal to 100. Set it to 100. So this is it's the wrong one. Okay, dcounter equals 0, dcounter plus plus, dcounter equals 0. And just reset that. Right? Or just set it to 2. Pretty sure 2, and it'll stay there. And then this guy should stop shooting the gun. So how do we make him stop shooting the gun? I don't know why I hate that stuff. Okay, so we start here. We say plus equals equals 20. It should never make it that far, right? So let's see, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So it shouldn't even, it should just go to 100 and stay at 100. Let's try that. Look how quick that, so that's a complete recompile. When I type run, it's a complete recompile. Yes, this is C. This is pure C, not C++, not C sharp, anything, just C. Strictly C. So yeah, so, but just like I showed you from the bat file here, so look, run clean, deleted everything, and then a run, this is a compile and run. So this is kind of why I'm back to GCC, because I'm more comfortable with it. I wrote that bat script, and from the time I press enter to the time that I have the game on screen is like, it's instant, and the whole game recompiled. Where did you learn C? I've been wanting to dive in, but I'm not sure where to start or what resources to use. That's a good question. I don't know about C specifically. I've gotten more back into C lately because I've gotten very interested in low-level programming. But what I will say about this, yeah, no, especially from yesterday, what I will say about C is it will make you a better programmer in everything else, because you really got to like understand things at a lower level. So getting away from abstracted languages and using C has been great. But overall, like as you program in time and stuff, it's just like people get kind of caught up on like, oh, what language should I learn? And it's kind of like asking, what language should I speak, right? Like you should speak whatever language you want to talk to. You know, if you want to talk to iPhones, you should learn Swift or Objective-C. If you want to talk to Android devices, you should learn Java. You know, so it's like a tool. It's not really like start with this or do that. But you can't go wrong with C. C compiles into everything. So like the lower you go away from abstracted, like this game I'm making, this thing will compile to anything. It'll compile to an iOS game. It'll compile to a web game. It'll compile to a Windows game, a Mac game. So that's the beauty of going lower in terms of programming languages. So I hope that answered your question. One shot, one death. No. Why? Same thing is happening. Gotta figure out why. Maybe it's something, the way I'm calling things. Is it this method that's bad? I don't think so. But then, oh, I know why. Because it's hitting this every time. You see? So we need to make this an enum and multiple states. No problem. I forget how I set it up in the previous method. Enum selection. To use a debugger like Visual Studio or Remedy BG. Yeah, so I just got Remedy BG. I forgot to answer your question finish answering the question about C, and then I'll get to the debugger. So real quick, I just want to share this for Alan because he's been great, and I think this resource is super helpful. Wiki. This is the right thing, I think. Yeah. So this is a great resource. This takes you through like those common questions like, you know, how should I get started? Where should I get started? What language should I learn first? Like all this stuff. Wait a minute. Is that the right? I don't know if that's the right one. Shit. New readme first. It's like it might be the frequently asked questions. I want to get you like the good resource because it like walks you through everything, like all the common questions that someone would have. Shit. Yeah, this one. Sorry, the second link. is really good, definitely. I've been mainly using Java and want to learn C. Programs can be much more efficient. Yeah, so the difference is that C programs compile to a specific platform, so they're much faster because they're geared towards that, where Java can compile, it can be run anywhere because it compiles to a virtual machine, so to speak, in the Java runtime environment. So that's the difference. So like you're trading, I guess, portability for speed, but yeah, like, C is always going to be faster. That's another reason. I was building a program once, and I was doing it in Python, and then I ended up building the same program like I don't know, a day later in C, and it was like 100 times faster or something like that. It was like ridiculous. It wasn't even close, and I was like, why am I doing this if I can be faster? Object-oriented programming sucks. Yeah, I mean, I think it has its applications, but I know where you would make a lot of friends. If you hang out in the Handmade network, they hate object-oriented programming too. And I was actually reading a C book one time that like explained how classes are actually built using something like C, and yeah, it did look like it sucked. So deep on the subject of debuggers. Sorry, I'm getting distracted here. So debuggers. So I use this. So this is some of the things that I use, but I have Remedy BG. But the problem is I just changed from MSVC back to GCC today, and that's a 32-bit program, and Remedy BG is a 64-bit debugger. So I will have to remake my build script for CL if I want to use it. But like I was thinking yesterday that I don't use the debugger that much, and this isn't really that complicated of a game or program. But if like at this point, I'm just going to cross that bridge when I come to it. If I come to the point where I really need to debug something, I'll just rewrite the build script for MSVC, and I will run Remedy BG. So I've decided I don't want to use Visual Studio or Xcode or any of these other large programs. So I'm trying to do everything as efficient as possible. So that's why I rewrote the build script for the runtime and so on and so forth. So, okay. So this is what did I do? I don't know why that came up. I don't blame you. Yeah, thank you. Enum, I don't know what to call this. So like, I read a lot of books. I read this book once that was like you should spend 5 minutes deciding what a variable name is and then like 30 seconds writing it. And like now every time I go to name something, I'm always like super conscious of it, and it's like really not that important, but I don't know. All I've known as object-oriented programming, it's hard for me to imagine. It looks like this. The main thing is in C, you make these things called structs, and then which are basically just grouped. You can have like a bunch of grouped data types. I can show you an example of what a struct I built in this program looks like. Not that, this. So you can see here, like I've built a struct for tile, and you can type def something, which means that you can reference it like that. So you see in the rest of the program, I can just reference it as a tile, almost like you're creating your own data type. You know what I mean? And then these are the members of the struct, and then you can modify their values, and that's when you get into like pointers and stuff, because you are essentially telling the computer to go when you allocate a struct, when you initialize it, almost like you would initialize a what do they call it, an object, right, of a class. But in this case, you're saying go to that actual place where the member of the struct is in memory, and then read it or modify it or whatever. So that's pretty much all there is to it. I mean, it's not all there is to it, but it's all my small brain understands. Okay. Enum, again, I don't know what to call this. I called it selection before, which is okay for that. That's just like Java classes though, right? That's one way of looking at it. I think a smarter person would be able to explain it to you better. Yeah, exactly. He says not really. He could probably explain it to you better than me. I think they're like pretty similar, but they're not. Yeah, you could think of it like that. Yeah, I did too when I finally wrapped my head around the whole struct thing, and pointers and passing and like addresses and stuff like that. That's the way I looked at it. Okay, I just needed like get it on with like enum core gameplay is what I'm gonna call this. We're gonna cap it. Okay, and here are gonna be the states. So there's gonna be open, draw, win, lose, finish are the states. And enum is kind of like a struct, but the difference is it can only hold one state in memory at a time. That's the difference between a struct and an enum. So they're pretty neat, actually. I actually think we can set that to an initial value just like that, because that's where I want to start it. And then we have to declare it. So we say enum. I can actually show you a neat trick to kind of what I was talking about earlier, but like if we say enum core gameplay, core gameplay, and then you declare it. So you say core gameplay, core gameplay, right, or whatever, just like that. And so now we're like kind of same thing, right? We're instantiating. If like you think about it from an OOP perspective, you're instantiating an object of class gameplay, but it's not really that. Basics to see, yeah, Handmade Hero. Like there are people that like know more than people that have like master's degrees in computer science and stuff because of watching that guy. That guy's a genius. All those guys, anybody that's super smart that does that and they explain it the whole way, I definitely recommend Handmade Hero. Okay, so we in the init we'll set the. I think we set the core gameplay to 0 here. I think that's the way to do it. We set core gameplay to open, and here, or do we? Yeah. So I think we just say if open, right, and then just run this line. That's the only time that'll get run. No problem. And then down here, we can wrap all this in a thing. Oh yeah, no worries, man. I appreciate you hanging out. Maybe I'll catch you another time. Okay. So yeah, I think that'll run, and then this will run once that's done. Or that'll still run unless we change the state. So I guess we change the state in the first line of this. So it stops running. So now we're going to set the core gameplay to draw, right? Yeah. Core gameplay goes to, wait a minute. No, because this isn't really a draw anymore. This is, so I guess we can just set this to draw and make the enum draw equal 0. And then right here we can just change the core gameplay equals, this is a lose, or here we can set this to core gameplay equals win. So win condition. Okay, so now that should fix the animation problems. I'm missing something. Control non-void function finish core. State core finish. Oh, this needs to return. This can just return 0 for now. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, that looked pretty good. He definitely stalled, but he came and he shot. Okay, so we can also play the a one-time sound. Only once. The only thing was that animation was a little choppy there, but that's the one thing I'm concerned about. See how it stops and then he moves. I don't know if I like that. He shouldn't stop. So I think it's just too slow. Maybe that's the only problem. So maybe if we just give them 1 second to react before it switches. And is it ever executing that other block of code? I don't think it is. I don't ever think it gets to this. Why does it stop? So this is like a time where a debugger would probably be super useful. Because I'm trying to figure out why it stops and then it goes. So it stops. Is it not being set? It's got to be something here in the state core. Okay, so if this is draw and we set that to draw, then it should animate this. But I don't think it is. Let's find out. And this is what I love about having these quick build times. I can just run this again without having to wait. So they should disappear now. No, but they stop. They do the same thing. That seems interesting. And this should draw every frame no matter what. Which it does. It's when it's time to draw that it's not drawing anymore. State level, it draws just fine. Oh, is it because I'm not calling it in the update method? Update core? No, it's being updated here. Let's see if I can get this to draw the way I expect. So that's perfect. So they switch and then they stop. Why? They shouldn't be a 1-1 here in the core. That's not right. That's why I don't understand. Why would they be a 1-1? 1 is, oh no, 1 is point the gun, so that is right. So they should point the gun. So let's see if they still point if we add that core value again. So if we say, let's say if core gameplay equals draw, then run that same thing, and now they should point the gun again. They don't point the gun with that in there. So I don't know if it's not meeting a condition. We set core gameplay to draw. Oh, is equal to. I don't know why I put a single equals. That's weird. Is that the problem in the first place? I hope not. That'll be really sad. Okay, so now it should change just the once. That looks right. That looks like it did exactly what I expected it to do. The only difference now is that the smoke needs to go away. So we just change that one more value. That was totally good. So the second it switches, we can run it one time by saying if core gameplay is equal to draw, because then we're going to reset it afterwards. We say play sound, shoot, FX shoot is the idea. We just run the same line of code down here. This is a one-time, so it should play that sound one time. And then over here in the animation for the enemy, after he shoots the gun, we just go to 120. We set it to 120. So that he shoots and it stops. So this should look much better now. That's freaking amazing. I love that. So one thing I think I need to change is have him sitting there with the smoke still going up. Like, definitely for a higher fidelity in this game, I think like the sun needs to like glow. I need to write this down. Some tweaks here. Thinking about this. So to do. Okay. So I think for sure, like in a static pose, animation or art. When I get around to this, number one, it's probably like, I guess, bullet travel, death, blood, maybe a little more. Sun needs to glow. Maybe like the cactus's sway. Cactus sway. Is things I could think of off my hand. Off the top of my head, I guess. Okay. Like, I'm pretty happy with that, but now I do need the smoke to go away. So maybe once it goes to 120, then he returns to his idle stance. If this, do that. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My sweet wife brought me dinner. Okay, so the idle standing pose for this guy is going to be 0, 20, 40, 60, 80. 0, 80. Oh, I forgot where we're at here. Okay, so 80 on that, and animation. Having stew. Yeah. Just makes good stew. It's like beef stew. So probably gonna let it cool down. It's hot. All right. So I think that'll do it. I think we can run that. That's perfect. He just needs to stop. That's all. That was so perfect the way that happened. But he just needs to stop going back up, and we're gonna figure out why he does. So if e state equals 3, this is the shoot gun method. Plus equals 20. If it gets greater than 120, then it resets. So I see the problem actually. And all we needed to do is stop. So we just say this is what we do. We just say and d counter or e counter is equal to. I really don't want to make another counter, but I think this will be okay actually. And then we just say e counter plus plus here, so it should never run again. It's probably not the best way to do it, but I think that's a way. Actually, like, truth be told, I should probably replace all the counters with enums here too, but if it works for now, I can live with that. Okay. No, that didn't work. What was I thinking here? So how does e counter stay at 0 if that happens? E state. So why would it keep going back? Something is going on with that isn't going on with the player, because the player is staying dead. I think it's because it's running both of these. Yeah, I think so. I actually don't think there's a problem with my logic. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like I can leave this animation logic alone. And I'm pretty sure the problem is here, so this is totally fine. I'll just I'll just turn this into an if statement. Just a sec. Okay. What did I say? Oh yeah, so I just need to wrap this in the enum, is I think the idea here. So I change the enum up there. So here I just say if for gameplay is equal to lose, then this goes here. Ooh, that's not the right thing. Neither is that. Okay. And then, so do the same thing down here. If core gameplay is equal to a win. See, like, I hate having variables named draw, because draw means so many things. Draw means draw the screen, draw means a tie. Like, that's what I'm talking about with like these variable namespace conflicts, even just in my own head. Okay. I shouldn't do that. I should come over here and make that go down, and I should bring that over, and then the same thing here. I think that's fine. But then here I should bring this over. Right? I'm like pretty sure. I don't know about the whatever. I can live with that. Okay, so I think that will make that run a lot smoother. I think so. So let's run the build. So I think he'll shoot and stop, ideally. He's still going. So perhaps it is an animation state problem that he's lifting back up. And maybe I didn't need to wrap my things in that. Yeah, this never even runs. If key is pressed is space. This should only run if you press space and you haven't lost. So, and core gameplay is not equal to lose. That's the only way that you should be able to get to this block. And I don't even know why I'm messing with this, because the important thing is this one. I don't know if this is ever executing. I'm not seeing a print statement. I don't think I've seen a print statement, a single print statement. So there's a few things to unpack and debug here. Test. This is good. Like, I'm gonna have to write the batch file for MSPC. It's coming back to haunt me. So we should see the test come through. We do, but we never see this other thing execute. We see test come through. We see the shoot come through. But I don't think this gets executed. I think this method was all bunked up. Or this if condition rather. Okay, so the test is, this isn't a problem. This is all executing as expected. So what is the problem? This is obviously changing the animation in the way that we expect, because the player dies and then he stays dead. So I think it's an animation thing, because the player's dying and staying dead, and only the guy that's shooting changes. So let's see what happens here. We say this is the wrong animation. So here we are saying if the y is equal to 40, so 1, 2, that's the shoot, and then plus equals 20, so 20, 40, and then if it's greater than or equal to 120, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 110, 120, 140. That's not right. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120. So 120 should be right. And then at that point, it should set the x to 80. Why the x? Yeah, because then we want to reset to state 1. But then it's coming back through and getting reset. So I think perhaps if we use an enum here, I think this will solve our problems instead of using these really crappy animation counters. So let's see here, enum. We'll just say enemy state. I think the proper way to capitalize that is this. So let's just see what happens. So just for the first two states, I forget what it's called. It's going to be like shoot the gun and stand. So shoot equals 0 and stand. It's fine for now. And then we'll say enemy state. Enemy state. Enemy state. Line 38 in state core. 38 in state core. Yeah. I think that's definitely a problem that I need to fix, but I don't know. I don't think that's the animation problem. I don't think that's what's causing it, because this never even executes. That's the only thing that would change. So this is definitely something that I have to fix, but I don't think that's why the guy is doing it. And I think this enum will fix that problem. Always returns false unless get time. Oh, yeah. I need to look at that. I totally think that you might be right about that. Let me solve this animation thing, and then we'll take a look at that. So shoot stand, enemy state. I think I could just set it to 0. I don't even think I have to do it here. I think I can do it in either place actually. So I think if I set shoot to 0 or enemy state, I can just call it like that, and it is 0. So what we'll do is, this is how we do it on the enemy state here. So the only time this executes is if, what happened to the music? What's going on here? So if the enemy state is equal to, what did I say, shoot? I think shoot is the right one. Yeah, shoot. Then that's the only time that this first block should execute, because that's the time that we're shooting. And then once it's greater than or equal to 120, then we say enemy state becomes equal to stand, and that should solve the animation issue. Shoot, yeah, and then he stops. That's perfect. This animation got solved. Now we got to solve the timer. I thought that looked pretty clean, actually. I'd like to see that one more time. I think that looks pretty good so far, anyway. Eventually, I'd like to break this guy off his feet and have him hit the wall and so on and so forth. So cool. So let's solve this state core problem. So what were you saying? Get time minus state core seconds, right? So we use the same thing here and it works. So how does the game work? I don't know if you're trolling me or not, John. You're gonna have to. I can't sense the sarcasm coming through. But if you really want to know, I'll take you through it. But I can't tell if it's a joke or not. So yeah. So right now I need to fix this somehow. That method's all messed up. So ideally here, what I would like to do is wait 2 seconds from the time. Oh, I actually don't know. I never played the Kirby minigame you're basing it on. Oh, okay. So sure, John will take you through it. I wrote some notes. No worries. I missed the red at the pluses and minuses. No problem. We'll take a look at it anyway. We do need to fix this. That's the next thing we need to do. So here's actually the basic logic, right? You have a timer. I can kind of maybe walk through the game as this happens. And then we can go through my game and see how it compares. So yeah, so basically there's a timer, right? So there's a level. So this is it's all like a sound anticipation game. You can kind of see how the level 1 is flashing, and then there's also that noise that comes through that kind of like gives the player anticipation. So the idea is you're kind of sitting there getting ready for the quick draw, and then once the sound goes off, then it's time to draw, and you have to press spacebar or tap the screen or whatever the game translates to in terms of like haptics before you get shot. And every and every enemy shoots faster is the idea. So, but if you pull your gun before it's time to draw, then you get a penalty. So, and I haven't like figured out what I'm gonna do for the penalty system. I think maybe like you get like 1 mulligan, and then you'll reset, and then if you draw too fast again, you just lose. So I go from there. So that's basically the essence of the game. So really simple. But I think it's gonna have like an addictive quality to it. I mean, I've played this game like 20 plus years ago. It was a long time ago. It was in the early 90s on an NES, and the game's great actually. Your computer, blue screen of death. I'm sure we could make it happen. I'm sure we could definitely. I'm not going to guarantee that won't happen anyway, even if you win. So I don't know. If people would get blue screens of death or not. Ideally not, but yeah. So yeah, that's basically it. Are you shipping this? Yeah, but like for free. I was telling John about it, the other guy in the channel here, John Jackson. The idea is, this is definitely probably a game I give away for free. I don't think I can make money from games. It's in a conflict of interest at my work. I'm not sure. I'd have to check with HR and all that. So I'll probably create this in terms of like, will I ship it? Yeah, I'll probably put it on like the iOS and Android store for free, and like a few other platforms and stuff. I probably will do that. But this is a precursor game to the next game that I want to make. And so I'm kind of like ironing out the kinks. Like you see how we're like figuring out, stepping through, okay, what are we going to, like, how are we going to control the game flow and how the timer works? And you kind of see me refactoring and getting like my build process down, and the overall architecture and stuff. And the idea is like to flesh out something nice and high fidelity on this simple game, and then John just, oh cool. So yeah, so the idea is to flesh this out, and then the next game, like the next game, like have like a long term like passion project that I can chip away at for a long time. So I don't know how much longer this game will take me, but ideally like not as long as I'm planning on spending on the next game. So that's the idea. Hopefully that all made sense. Gotta eat. Okay, so I need to fix this this little thing I got here. That sounds like a good idea. Thanks, John. Okay, so I need to fix this method here. So this all executes, but this block never does. And it wasn't executing before, so I mean, this is fine. This obviously changes up here, the enum does. So what I want to do is wait. I think I know what to do. Honestly, I think I know what to do. I think I just reset this, dude. I think I just, no, because I guess it resets every time, but it doesn't matter because like the next time, yeah, dude, I can totally, it doesn't matter if it gets reset every frame. It totally doesn't matter. It totally doesn't matter if it gets reset once. Or does it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. So here's what we'll do. Because it'll only get ran once if we throw it in a block with this. And we know this only gets ran once because the sound only plays once. So I think that's the idea, is that I'll throw it in here. So I'll just reset the state core seconds back to get time, and then we just use the same method that we used up here. But instead of enemy difficulty, we'll just make it a fixed amount of time after that happens to move on to the next screen. Because this is what determines how fast you have to react. Okay? And then this is going to determine how long the time has passed. Determine how long the time's passed. So, I don't know what the problem with this method is, but something's wrong with it. Maybe not. Maybe it's just highlighting being weird. This can just be greater than or equal to 2. We'll just say 2 seconds after the time you get shot, the enemy wins, and we're gonna see if this executes. And man, these build times are really making me happy. I'm really glad that I fixed that build file. And we should see, oh, so it got stuck and then the enemy wins. That's not good. So why did it get stuck? That's weird. Why would that happen? Oh, does it get stuck? I don't know why that would happen. That whole thing, that whole shit is messed up. That's not good. So here's what I think. I think I need to fix this method, but I can be pretty confident that this is going to run without that correctly. This should run fine, and then it should spam my screen. So it doesn't. It pauses there too. Oh, because I don't think I can reassign this. I think that that's the problem. I think there's something about reassigning that method. I don't think it likes that. That looked a little weird again. I don't know. Something's going on. No, that's probably fine. Or at least it can be tweaked or whatever, but something's going on. So this is executing, but I need this to take a few seconds. So I'm gonna figure that out. How long have I been doing this for? I think it's probably time to call her a day. So yeah, if you came by and you hung out with me, I really appreciate it. It's always enjoyable to talk to people about what I love. I love to do this stuff. I like to build games and solve problems, and it's really nice, especially having other people around that are interested in programming. People like you folks from the Njon Discord Njon, you know, that come by and know way more than me. So I really appreciate it. I will catch everybody next time. I gotta eat my dinner.